Yeah, it's getting there.
Getting there.
Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. As you can see, we're in another location this week. We're Children's National in Washington, D.C., and this show is hosted here, and it's sponsored by Geico. But the thing is, it's the same show. We're here to have fun, here to talk Redskins, here to talk playoffs, and we're here for you. We'll be back in a moment.
You okay there, Kurt?
We're about to move.
Karate helps relieve some of the house buying stress.
At least you don't have to worry about homeowners insurance. Call Geico.
Geico helps with homeowners insurance?
Been doing it for years.
I'm calling Geico right now.
Good idea.
Get to know Geico and see how easy homeowners and renters insurance can be.
That's better. Welcome back to the show. And as I said, we got a big show here today, and one thing about it is it's not inclusive of just the Washington Redskins. But let me tell you about my crew that I have here. I'll go in the foxhole with them anywhere but in a real foxhole. Let's talk about let's talk about, first of all, I got Michael Baker. He's been with me for so many years, a producer around town, has 7 Emmys. Next, you had number 89. If you don't remember him, Santana Moss, one of the greatest receivers in the Washington Redskins history. And not only that, he was a Dallas killer. Give it up for him.
Yes, he was.
Donna Hopkins, she always tell everybody she was a great athlete. I'm waiting to see that.
You
But
know.
one thing we know, she's a great person. And while you're here or while you're watching this show, remember, she has a book on the other side.
Getting to the other side of
Getting
victory.
to the other side of victory. It's outstanding. It's about her history, and you should hear about it. But today, see if she know any football. I'm Tony McGee. Let's get this on the road. Guys, let's talk about the playoffs. Well, let's talk about Washington Redskins. Why are they making the moves that they're making? They got rid of running backs that were doing well. They're not bringing back people. They don't know who they want to get on the offensive line, which they should get up. What's happening with them, guys?
Well, I think right now they're lost for words. That's what I tell folks. I'm lost for words, and they don't know how to fix what they have going on. But let's be honest. You know, you was once a Washington Redskin. In your day, you know, y'all did things extremely different. The years that I played here from 2005 to 2014, that's when things have kind of been distraught. You see that same kind of chemistry that's still going on in the front office and on the field because they haven't found a solution. I think the real big picture is finding the guys in the front office to make this proper changes so we won't have to worry about as players, you know, having this, you know, the mediocre or lackluster play from guys. You know, we sit here as analysts and try to find a way to say, well, this is the reason why they're losing, this is the reason why they haven't done this and that. But we see time and time again, they don't know how to correct their problems. All last year, the defense went from here to here, and we just knew Minuski's out the door, and then you see he's back.
Well, why do you think the defense, and do you think maybe it's because later and even in the beginning of the year, the offense never commanded a lot of time during their time on the field. Therefore, the defense was out there, which they would start playing well in the beginning, but by the end of the game, they're out.
I think you know, defensively, you know, they played well throughout the entire season. One of the things that I saw that really showed up later in the season was that the offense never, you know, gained that chemistry to allow these guys to take a break. So when your defense out there on the field, stopping these guys, you know, after series, and the offense still haven't got a chance to put up points or they're 3 and out, now your defense find themselves tired. They find themselves back on the field, same situation, same position they was in before, and the offense, they didn't really give them no help. So one of the biggest reasons I believe that they went the way they went is because the offense never gained that chemistry to allow the defense to take any breaks.
See, I can't buy that. I can't even
here we go.
I can't buy the injury situation because I think that it came down to a point that the Redskins did not utilize the talent that they had. If those guys up front, to me, was the most solid people as far as Payne and Allen and all those guys, that was the strength of that defense. And I think that they got away from some of the things they should have been doing on defense, like Dexter said a week ago that they should have blitz. And in situations where the Redskins should have attacked, they got lackadaisical on their defense. And I think that you can buy some of the fact that they were wore down, but I don't buy that because when you look at other teams, their defense had to stay on the field quite a bit too, but I just think that the Redskins didn't play to the strength of what they could do on defense and what they did at the beginning of the season to what they did at the end. And going back to the management situation, the Redskins, like Santana said, they are lost. I don't think that they know what they're doing right now in the front office. They fired 4 guys almost at the end of the season that's supposed to be part of the personnel. And then at the end of the season, when you look at a losing team, they did nothing in the front office to say, we got to get rid of this guy, we got to look at this situation. But they gave, I just heard my sources said that they gave.
Oh, you mean them sources is wrong all the time?
My sources was never wrong. They just said that Bruce Allen was just given more responsibility on this team, so he's running the show totally.
Let me ask you something, Mike.
Yeah.
I know what you're getting ready to say. Swearinger, alternate to the Pro Bowl. I've tried not to mention names.
Go on and mention them.
Defensive back.
Name.
Running back. Number 46, ran well. Both of them gone.
Yeah.
And then they telling me that since Doug Williams come in, everything in the front office is getting better. So why do you not give him more power?
Well, I agree with you. They should have kept Capri Bibbs. I mean, what happened? Somebody signed him right away. But I just have to touch on HaHa and I have to touch on Swearinger because this team was doing well. It was 6-3. And, you know, Paul Richardson was beginning to stretch the field. He's got great speed. You could see Alex begin to connect with him. I thought this team had turned a corner at that point before Alex got hurt. I think, and most teams, the defense carries the offense the early part of the year. The offense was starting to pick up. I thought this team had turned the corner. I didn't understand why you brought in HaHa Clinton Dix. I didn't understand that at all. And you sat down Monte Nicholson, who everybody loved last year, and had the great speed, and he had great acceleration of the ball. I never understood that at all, and that's when the defense started getting a little bit confused.
That was the biggest mistake.
Yeah,
and a lot of people think that HaHa was a great fit, and I still don't know that he's not, but he's not what they needed at that point.
He had played, you know, well for Green Bay. You know, he had put up Pro Bowl numbers, went to a Pro Bowl a couple of years ago, and you thought that bringing him in would just tighten up things back there even more. I think what happened was they thought wrong, and they saw that, you know, they was wrong, and they just couldn't just allow themselves to say, okay, let's just, you know, find a way to get back to what we know. Because once they brought in HaHa, they changed DJ Swearinger's role. And he even said it. I knew it before he even said it. I can watch the way he played before, and then watching the games, I'm sitting there, I'm like, this guy's nowhere to be found now. And before, he was everywhere. He was the only guy in that secondary that was causing havoc, him and Dunbar. Dunbar went down, and then you was like, you know, okay, we understand that, but at least we got DJ, and then he fell off the face of the map.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
In this era of social media, don't we have to be, as a team, owners and managers, a little more tolerant of the players and what they put out there? Why do you cut a guy because he, you know, he basically post some things that you don't like. This is a new era.
Posting it. He said that outright.
Yeah, he just called him out.
Have you guys ever thought about the fact that maybe they wanted that position for HaHa?
Yeah.
When they brought HaHa in, maybe that was the thought process in the beginning. We would never think that because we said the gentleman is an alternate for the Pro Bowl. He'll probably be playing in the Pro Bowl in 2 weeks, and he's not on this team any longer.
And he had back-to-back years.
Exactly.
Like playing
and then he was the leader on this team. And over the last 10 years, that's the one thing that they've been missing. But let's jump a little bit now. Talk about the good things on defense. Those two defensive tackles in there.
Yeah.
Payne and Allen.
Those Alabama Bucks. Say their name again.
Allen and Payne.
Those guys are really good.
Yeah.
And Michael, somebody in the audience say you're not talking loud enough.
Sean, Deion Hamilton. I mean, I think he sort of got lost in the shuffle, but they've been bringing him in. He's got some pass rush capability. He really covers well. So now you got 3 Alabama kids there.
I'm gonna put on my Smoot voice. I'm gonna talk a little louder. You know, Smoot would come up here and have all these people in tears by now. But to be honest with you, I do believe that, you know, we hit home runs with those guys up front. and Ioannidis being another guy that we
Ioannidis
didn't
very
talk
good.
a lot about coming into the season, and he started the season off. I think he was leading everybody in the sacks before he got hurt. But I do believe that in order for us to be able to compete, through the years to come, we have to continue to build. We got to get those backups for those positions and the guys on the offensive line as well. I think we have some real good talent on the offensive line with probably 2 or 3 positions. Our center, we have our right guard, and you can say our left tackle. Trent been there for the longest. You have to find some backup for these guys as well. So when you come to what we should be looking forward to in the future, to me, you have to build in the trenches. You build those guys up front on both sides, continue to get more guys, then we can worry about the back ends later.
Santana, you're exactly right. But one thing I want to bring up, and I'm going to say it now, they did not play that well as an offensive line before you got the injuries.
Right.
And then once they got the injuries, Trent is one of the best in the game. He did not have a Trent Williams year.
But I was okay with the ugly wins. I believe that we was all expecting Adams to go out there and be Peyton Manning. He was not that kind of quarterback.
Exactly.
And you got to think about it, regardless of you being a veteran or not, you still have to get the chemistry here. I didn't believe he was going to come in the first 10 weeks and go out there and have us all in love with how he plays the game. I think he's still trying to get that rhythm going, and just before he got a chance to really get that rhythm and get his confidence, he got hurt.
See, I didn't think that the offense played good all year long. I thought they struggled. I thought Alex Smith struggled the whole time. Like you said, I didn't expect him to come in and be a super quarterback, but I was wondering why did they really get him and not look to bringing in a quarterback for the future. The only bright part of the offense was AP, really, when you think about the running game, but the passing game.
You got to tell the people who AP is.
Adrian Peterson and the run and the offense as a whole really never got on the same page. Alex struggled. I was surprised. He struggled with the offense when Josh Johnson came in the last 3 games and played better offensively and picked up the offense better than he did. So now they're in trouble going into next year because they really don't have a quarterback because Alex Smith is not going to be ready come next year. So who do you go? Colt McCoy, and then who do you go after that? That's a big area that they have to address.
Why wouldn't you have signed AP, Tony? Why wouldn't you have signed AP right now? What are you waiting for?
But you know what? He may not want to. He has a few years left. He wants to go to the playoffs. He wants an opportunity, and he can see just like we can. This team is quarterback hungry right now, and they have to find a quarterback somewhere. And there's not that many good ones out there that they can look for. And if they draft a young one, they can't expect him to be like Mahomes. So right now, AP may want to go somewhere else. When we come back, I want you fans to know you heard it here first. Donham Hopkins, she didn't throw the defense under the bus. She threw the offense under the bus. And when we come back, we're going to help her. We'll be back in a moment.
Did I tell the truth?
Yes, you did.
I'm at the swing joint telling people that Geico's been offering savings for over 75 years. That's longer than the buffalo wing's been around.
Dozen wings.
And did you know that Geico offers motorcycle insurance? Oh, my lips are burning. No, my lips are actually burning.
Geico. Over 75 years of savings and service. See how much you could save at geico.com.
It's too hot. Oh, this is too hot, mate.
E&M Technologies, a women-owned small business, is at the forefront of providing the government and Department of Defense with cybersecurity, systems engineering, biometrics, intelligence, and training services. Our experienced professionals ensure the security, availability, and reliability of information for informed decision-making. E&M Technologies is a mission-first, people-always-focused organization with over 70% veterans and military family members. Our innovative technologies for identity, intelligence, and public safety provide customers with solutions for the challenges of today and the future. Visit us at enmtech.com.
Welcome back to the show. And as I told you, thanks again for allowing us to be here at Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. and for Geico sponsoring the show. Hey guys, let's get busy talking about this. You start talking about the office a little bit, but before I start talking to you, Cassie, you have a question from one of our audience.
Yes, my friend Dion here has a question.
When is the Redskins going to win another champion bowl?
I can't hear.
Gotta speak up. We don't.
When is the Redskins going to win another champion bowl?
When the Redskins gonna win another championship?
Now that's a question, young men, and a lot of people want to know when the Washington Redskins are going to win another championship. Do you realize that their last championship, 1992, do you know what that's saying?
I was in middle school. I know that much.
Exactly.
It's saying a lot. Look, I want to know myself when the Redskins are going to win another one. But if they don't start putting this team together, meaning like Santana said, as far as with the offensive line, the defensive line, we got to get a quarterback in here. But we've got to get management on the same page in building this team to be a winning team.
I just think they're within 4 years. I mean, I think this team has turned the corner. I really do. When they were 6-3, remember, they beat Philadelphia, and that.
But they had Alex Smith then. They don't have a quarterback.
But you never know. Colt
But
McCoy
Mike,
is
they
untried.
say that it's not how you start
Colt
the
McCoy
season.
could be the next
It's how
Patrick
you
Mahomes.
finish the season.
You don't know that.
I know.
How did they finish the season?
Let me ask you this. Have Colt been that player before now?
He's gotten hurt.
Yeah.
He beat Dallas.
But that's the one thing he has been doing. I love Colt. I was there with Colt in 2014. I remember seeing Colt from the years before, prior to that, and I loved everything about him. He's a guy, he's a competitor. He's a guy that's going to go out there and give it his all. But if you ask me, and to me, I think if you had the number, who's the most optimistic person on this panel, it's me. I believe I'm always optimistic. I think tomorrow's going to be a sunny day. I think, I'm always thinking positive.
So when will they go back to Super Bowl?
I don't see these guys going back to the Super Bowl no time soon. And it's, we can say 4 years, we can say 5, we can say 10. I don't know. Until they show me that they're going to do things up front a little differently, then I will have that, I will have the optimistic, that hope and say, you know what, maybe they're doing the right things that can kind of pull me away or pull me over to that side closer to believe that.
Let's digress. When they did have the quarterback and they brought in Adrian Peterson and they brought in a few new defensive players and they did not have the injuries, they were an improved team.
Hey, I was riding
so
high.
that tells me that the front office did do something correct. Now what I think they need on this team, if you're talking about going to the Super Bowl, they need some leaders.
Yes.
And see, they got rid of one of the best ones, the Swearinger.
Yep.
Yes.
But right now, they need somebody in the locker room because coaches, front office, and fans can only do what they can do off the field.
Yes.
When you own the field, you got to do your job. And that's what's going to happen. When they start doing their jobs again, they'll go to the Super Bowl, they'll get one of these. Until then, we won't even talk about it. We have another question.
Yes, this is from my friend Emily.
Can you speak up?
Why did you join the Redskins?
Why did you join the Redskins?
Why did I join the Redskins? Oh, well, honestly, I got drafted in New York in 2001 by the New York Jets. Yeah. And I had a 4 to 5 year contract with an optional 5th year. And the Redskins had tried to trade for me every year except that 4th year. And coincidentally, I end up here my 5th year. So I didn't join them. They came out and seeked me. And it was just, I guess, a match made in heaven. I think when I got here, I really felt at home, and that's what probably led me to playing here for 10 years.
For a lot of you guys who do not know Santana Moss, I tell you about what he did when he was here with the Washington Redskins. But from the day he came into the league, he's been an outstanding all-star. And not just catching the ball, he ran punts, he ran kickoffs, he did everything. When they brought him here, they needed a game breaker. He presented that to them, and after that point, he was great here for all the years. So no, he didn't join him. They got people like him, and that's what the new Washington Redskins need to do if they want to go back to Super Bowl.
Tony, he was fast as lightning. And the thing about when you look at the Redskins receivers now, they don't have anybody that can go and get the ball, make plays and everything. When the quarterback threw the ball to Santana Moss, he knew that Santana was going to be in that spot. He was going to make adjustments to catch the ball. And that's what I don't see sometimes with the Redskins receivers is even though the play said go 15 yards, go across here, they don't make the adjustments to be where the ball is, to make that play.
You know what you don't see? You don't see a threat.
Yeah.
And you know what? Anytime I used to go out on the field, I looked at the guy across from me. I want to know what kind of threat you have. If you good, I'm going to be better. If you bad, I'm still going to be better. I want to be a threat. We do not see that, not only with the wide receivers. You look at Adrian Peterson, that's the one guy on this team that I can say each and every play that he was in there, you saw 110%.
Yes.
That's what you need. And that offense did not have that. And I'm going back to the offensive line. They were not that great before they had the injuries.
No,
I'm going back to the quarterback. He was working his way in. I'm going back to Adrian Peterson. He was an all-star then. I'm going back to the wide receiver. They were nondescript. No one scared. I could have covered a couple of those guys.
We're talking about guys that would be leaders on the defense next year. I know they're going to re-sign Josh Norman, and he's going to be your leader back there. And don't forget, they had one of the fastest possible safeties in Troy Apke, who got hurt. They're very high on you.
I'm with Santana. I'm with Santana on that one. You better rethink that one.
I'm a little iffy. Well, first of all, I would say this. I mean, we was, kind of on the offensive side, and you brought that defensive side back up. I'm not so sure about Josh. I understand what he deserved when he came here. I'm all for that. I'm a guy that, when you out there playing your behinds out and you put up the numbers, then pay me for what I put up. Since he's been a Washington Redskin, I can't vouch for him and say he deserves what he's been getting. Now, when it comes to numbers, talking money, I'm not that guy. I don't make those decisions. Even when as a player, I care less of what you make. But I want to see that play. I want to see you be that leader year in and year out. Regardless if you make an interception or not, I want to be able to look at you and say, I know at the end of the day, that guy's going to handle his job. I don't think I could rely on that guy because he didn't show me that time and time again. Now, is he a leader? I don't think so, all the time. I think Josh is a pretty good football player. I do believe that. But I don't think he's the best coverer out there. I think Dunbar was our best cover corner. Yeah. And for Dunbar to be an up-and-coming corner, to be the best cover corner, that to me allowed me to understand or believe that I don't think Josh has a really a great chance of coming back next year.
You wouldn't pay him the $20 million.
That's too much money to be paying a guy who I'm not really sold on, So I don't know what they feel. I'm just saying for myself. And personally, I have no beef against, I have no beef with Josh. I think Josh is a good football player, but to be paid $20 million to be a lockdown, shutdown corner, a motivator, a leader for our defense, he's not that guy.
Let me tell you what he just did. That's leadership. That's what this team do not have. Someone need to look at Josh in the face and say, you are my main corner. You shut down that side of the field. When you don't do that, then we don't need you over there. They need to look at those defensive linemen. If you can't put pressure on the quarterback, you don't need to be on the field. And that's what I'm saying right now. Linebacker, yes, you can make a big hit in the hole, but if you can't cover a tight end, what good are you? That's what this team needs to start doing. And we have another question here. But we are going to stop talking about the Washington Redskins because they're at home. Yeah. We're going to start talking about winners and people in the playoffs. We have another question from the audience.
Yes, this is a question from my friend Bob.
First off, I want to thank you for giving me and my children somebody to yell at on Sunday.
Already, thank you.
I hope you heard us.
Appreciate it.
Because ever since Art Monk and them, you've been about the brightest spot that the Redskins have.
I appreciate that.
What do you think it'd take the Redskins to get back to be a competitor? Because it's getting hard to wear them that red and yellow.
I tell you what do you think it'd take for the Washington
Receivers, defense, we need it all.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's saying it exactly right.
Honestly, in order for the Washington Redskins to get back to be one of those teams that we can really fill the seats for again, they have to make sure they make their proper decisions, upstairs. And I think one of the things leading into this season, you would have thought that they would have pleased the fans by some of the changes they made. They didn't do that. So right now, I'm already iffy about, you know, where they're going to be at next year. I think this upcoming season is going to be one of those prove-it-all seasons for the fan base and for the organization. You know, I truly believe in what Dan does. A lot of people don't give Dan Snyder credit. I do. As a player, I saw the changes that he tried to make for us to have the things around us so we can go out there and be the best team we have. He doesn't know it all. You know, he's just the owner. So therefore, the guys that sit in those seats that make those decisions, that move those, you know, move their hands and make sure this guy here or this guy here or put the right guys in those spots, they need to be those guys. We have some. I can't throw shade at the guys that we have.
Like you said, they have some.
I believe in some of the guys there because I was there with those guys. But they have to get rid of some of the things that they've been doing in the past because it hasn't worked. And I said it before, until they decide to say, hey, we're wrong and own up to their wrongness, we're not going to see any change. So they have to own up to that.
We got to take a break, and I want to do this when we come back. That young man had a great question. Let's go position by position on this team for our last segment on them for this show and break it down and talk about these positions. We won't call names. When we come back, fans, we're going to talk about the Washington Redskins the way they haven't been talked about before. And to be truthful, we're not going to be nasty, but we're going to be for real. We'll be back in a moment.
Mainline Protective Services is a female-owned security services and training company located in Largo, Maryland. Let us care for all your security training to obtain gainful employment. We also provide security services in the state of Maryland. Allow us to secure your personal property with the best officers in Maryland. Mainline is always striving to be the best, not the biggest, for all your security needs and services. Visit us at mainlineprotectiveservices.com.
Geico makes it so easy to manage my policy. With an app that lets me pay my bill, add a vehicle, or even file a claim, it's not just easy. It's aerobics in a recliner easy.
And plank. Move it. Shimmy. Woo. And step, step, swivel. Keep it going. Kick, hold. Kick it out, and kick, and kick.
It's not just easy, it's Geico easy.
Feel the bird.
Welcome back to the show, and as I told you, once again, we're here at Children's Hospital. Now we're talking about the Washington Redskins. We're talking playoffs. We're talking about what this team needs to get back to the playoffs. I'll start off right now. They need someone on the defensive end, a pass rusher that every week he's going to give you pressure, and he's going to give you, I don't know. He's going to give you pressure, and he's going to give you sacks. We have people now. Yes, Carrington had 13 sacks, but it was times in the season that I didn't see him when he was needed. Other defensive ends on this team, I didn't see a lot of pressure from them. And that's where I look on the defensive line. The two guys in the middle, the Alabama Bucks, they are very good players, but they're not pass rushers. So on that defensive line, you and get you another great pass rusher. That defensive line may be set.
Yeah, I think that defensive line, Tony, like you said, a few players here and there, but I think where the Redskins are really hurting is the secondary. They've got to get a player at safety now since DJ Swearinger is no longer with the team.
I thought we were saying names.
Well, I got to call it. I'm sorry. I like DJ Swearinger because he was a player that
Yes,
made plays.
yes.
He called out players.
I'm
He
so
said it like
pissed
it
about
is.
that.
Now, he may have talked his way out of this team because of the criticism, but he did play. That's the type of player that we need in the secondary. They need a cornerback, another cornerback, and they need some linebackers on that side of the ball. Now, the offensive side of the ball, I think they better get a quarterback for the future. Running back, if they bring Adrian Peterson back, if Geis is coming back, I think they're set right there. They've got to get a big play receiver that can stretch the field and make plays right there. But as offensive line, I think they still need to build there
No
too.
doubt.
They better have
Yes.
a good draft,
Yeah.
and they better get some players
Yes.
that's out there.
All
You
that
know what?
stuff.
And you know, if you look at every team that's in the playoffs right now, they all built their offensive lines
Yeah.
for the long haul.
Yeah.
Our line was not that good. And you can't tell me that they were bad players, but they haven't been really, really great for the last 2 or 3 years.
No doubt. I truly believe all that what you guys said. Defensively, we need a pass rusher that we can sit there and say, man, every play he's almost there. You know, he's a threat every play. I think when you have a great interior like we have on the defensive front, you need that guy to make sure that quarterback is always stepping up into that interior, because those guys do an exceptionally job up front. But we don't have the guys consistently on the outside. Kerrigan has been Kerrigan for the last, you name it, years, but Preston Smith hasn't showed up, yet. And I think he's a guy that they might bring back because he didn't really do as, his number probably money-wise.
He didn't look,
isn't gonna
right,
really-
and
yeah.
he didn't look real good this year. The last few years, he really could see his progression. This year, it looked like he took a step back.
He was stressing. He was trying to get that money. And, all the young players are trying to play so hard to go out there and get that big payday. But beyond all that, if you want to compete, yes, I understand that we have a couple of running backs. Hopefully we bring AP back, Adrian Peterson. Hopefully Geis is 100% when he comes back, so we don't have to rely on Adrian. But outside of the receiving position, yes, we need a guy to come in there and be a streaker down the side of the field. We need a guy to blow the top off. But if we don't build that offensive line, trust me, for us to be one of the better offensive lines in the league, those guys was not that this year, regardless if they were healthy or not. You can name 1 or 2 guys that was consistently well. Besides that, we didn't have a great, outing from those guys. So we have to get sharper there. We have to get some backups there. We have to get some starters there also. And I think a couple of guys that has been starters, you said we're not calling no names, so I won't call a name.
No, you can call them.
It's,
Call them up.
but no, I'm just going to put it out there. We have a couple of guys that have been starters that haven't done their job well enough for me to rely on them to be that guy next year. So I'm pretty sure the coaches know. I'm pretty sure the fans know as well. But these guys have to be better. And they can call themselves Hogs 2.0 all they want to. Until we give you the name, then you give yourself a name.
Thank you, Santana.
To me, they haven't earned that yet. And
Very
that's why
well
we haven't
said.
been, that efficient on offense, because we have to rely on those guys up front. If you can't protect for me, if you can't, run block well enough for me, then we can't be the offense that we're trying to be without that going on.
I want to ask you a question. There was a brilliant mind who played in the NFL for 14 seasons, one of the great defensive ends of all time. 14 years ago, I asked him this question. Tony, we got all these great linebackers. Why are we not playing a 3-4? I mean, come on, Tony. Tony said to me, in the NFC East, you play the 4-3. It's cats. It's basically bowl them over. It's 4-3. What did Dallas do this year? They made the playoffs. They went back to the 4-3. We're still playing the 3-4. Shanahan brought it in. We have never been in the top 10 in defense since.
3-4.
We moved to the 3-4. You have Preston Smith. You have Ryan Kerrigan. As you said, hands in the dirt pass rushers.
There you go.
Now you've got your interior linemen. Why aren't you playing a 4-3?
Well, I think it's because they look at their defensive ends as more kind of defensive end linebacker types. Yeah. And you made a great point there, Mike, the 4-3. And the thing is, now when you get to the playoffs, the emphasis is on running the ball. Who can run the ball well? Look what the Rams did the other day. Look at how dangerous they will be. Any team that can run the ball. Our defense do not have the personnel to be a great 3-man line. And with the linebacker, you need a 4-man line so you can get after it, and you need 4 people that can move that pocket. We do not have that right now, but we do have the 2 interior. We need those 2 outside guys.
Yeah. But Tony, you know what? I look at and I hate losing. And I always look at this team, do they really hate losing?
Yeah.
Because if you really hate losing, you're going to do something about it.
You get used to losing
sometimes.
sometimes.
Yeah, you get
that's
used
what
to it.
it seems
And
like
to
it's
me,
here.
we hate losing more than they do,
Yeah.
and they haven't proved to me that they hate losing more than winning and all of that.
We talk so much about bringing the proper guys in, making the proper decisions up front. To be honest with you, if the coach just say, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm going to put you through a formation or put you through a structure of how you're supposed to play, and these guys get that and go out there and remember. Because I remember when I first got here, Coach Gibbs, I've heard the history of Coach Gibbs, didn't know what to expect. And when I got out there into, 05, we practiced every day in pads. I mean, all the way until the end of the year, whereas we was playing our best football, you think, okay, your pad's going to come off, when it's cold outside. We didn't have a bubble to go into, but you'd have thought that, okay, we'll tone down some of the things. He cared less. He made sure it was difficult. He made sure we was out there and we dreaded being out there. These guys are in, camp when they out there. I'm not talking about training camp. I'm talking about summer camp.
Yeah, exactly.
They're in summer camp out there every day in practice. And
Resort.
trust me, I've been a part of that, and I don't believe you have to beat guys up to be successful. No, I don't believe that. But I do believe you have to structure your practices according to how you perform it.
Yeah.
And if you're not performing well enough, then I got to make practice hard for you so you can believe that we can't take that for granted. And when you watch these guys play a lot, especially defensively, I watched throughout the whole entire playoffs. Every team defense swarms to the ball. You see a guy catch the ball on the flat, you see safeties making plays before the linebackers and linemen. On our team, everybody's in catch mode. You see a guy catch the ball and they standing there waiting for you to make a move. That allows me to believe that you're not going out there practicing well enough so these guys can have that kind of, memory of saying, let's attack, 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 attack. And I remember with Greg Williams, he made those guys run before every practice. They was tired before the practice started. I used to tell guys, like, what is he making you do? And when you watch him in the game, when that ball goes to one direction in the field, you see the whole defense swarm that way.
There you go.
And that's what he was doing. He was building that muscle memory in their head to know that, hey, when this brain see or feel that ball go a direction, then we all need to be there, one team, one sound, one band, one sound. So I think the coaches have to change the way they structure things practice-wise because these guys are playing soft. So regardless of who you put there, if you don't make your team hunt, then they're not going to hunt.
Well, didn't they say that how you practice is how you play on Sunday?
No doubt.
All right, now I got to go to Cassie for another question from the audience. Cassie?
Yes, this question is for Mr. Moss on behalf of my good friend up here at the front. And the question is, did you start to play football just for your family or for your pure love of football?
Great question, great question. She asked me, did I start playing football for the love of the game itself or for my family? To be honest with you, it was all because I loved the game that much. When I was 4 or 5, I say 5, 6, when I knew what football was, I told myself that day I was going to be a football player. Every day I walked that earth until I became a football player. If you asked me anything that I believed that I was going to be when I grew up, I said a football player. And I remember being in classes where they asked me, what you want to be when you grow up? I had nothing, but I want to be a football player. And I remember my dad telling stories about me in childhood years. He said, it was crazy when he would come to my room to make sure I was asleep, make sure the TV was off. I've always was snuggled up with a football. He said, I couldn't get this ball out your bed. He said, and it was crazy.
Sleeping with the football.
No, I was snuggled up with the football. I believe that was what I wanted. I wanted it so bad. I mean, I remember watching football and just seeing myself remembering or thinking that, hey, one day that's going to be me. And if you saw me growing up as a kid, you saw my structure, you look at me and say, it's impossible. Everyone told me that. They were like, man, you're too small. You got to have a bigger heart. I'm like, you don't know me, so you don't know how my heart is. But I've always was told no. And, I think one of the things that kept me believing, just knowing I wanted to prove those people wrong. So football was, I played the game because I loved it that much. And I think, honestly, that's why I played so long, because regardless of what we went through, I had a lot of bad years here when it comes team-wise, winning-wise. But I just had so much love for the game, it couldn't take it, they couldn't take it away from me like that.
We're going to take a break right now, but what you just heard from that young man there, the heart of a football player, that's what they need, a heart of a lot of football players. We'll be back in a moment.
Once I started looking for car insurance, it was a no-brainer. I switched to Geico and saved hundreds. That's a win. But it's not the only reason I switched. The Geico app makes it easy to manage my policy. I can pay my bill, add a new driver, or even file a claim. Woo! Hey now, that's a win-win. Thank you.
Switch to Geico. It's a win-win.
Welcome back to the show. And as I told you, we have an interesting show here, but we're going out to the audience and they have a question for us. Cassie?
Yes, Emily here has another question.
What changed your life to be in the Redskins?
The question is, what changed your life to be in the Redskins?
Great question. I think the way I became a Redskin was that I got traded here in 2005. I was drafted by the New York Jets in 01, straight out of college from the University of Miami. In 05, they traded me here, and the rest was history. You know, I had 10, marvelous years here. I didn't get a chance to go far in the playoffs like I would like to, or even see a Super Bowl. But I can tell you, those 10 years was some of the best years of my life.
Yeah, tell me this. You were with the Jets first, and at that time when they bought you, and I remember you guys were 1 or 2 players away from maybe making some noise in there, and then it kind of fell apart and they bought you here. Tell me the difference between their organization and the one you've been involved with here.
Great question, great question. I tell folks all the time, it's crazy. And that's one of the reasons why I believe the grass isn't always green on the other side. As a Jet, in 4 years there, I went to 3 playoffs. 3 playoffs, twice second round. My last year there in 04, we actually only lost because our kicker missed the field goal 3 times for us to win the second round playoff. We were easily in that AFC championship game. So it's incredible how, and much success we had under Herm Edwards over there. But the reason I can say the reason why we had that success is because we practice we play like we practice.
Exactly.
I mean, he was a great motivator. I mean, they had the great guys, as position coaches. But when it came to the effort, you never questioned our effort. We always went out there and played like our job was on the line. And when I came here, I kind of got, surprised because that first year was a whirlwind. 05, we went out there and kicked behind. I mean, we was flying up and down the field. We barely ran anything on our offensive game sheet that we put in through the week. Coach got to the point to where Coach Gibbs said, hey, it's a copycat league. Whatever they got beat with last week, we're going to beat them with this week. And that's how we played football. We ran our solid runs with Clinton Portis. And in the past game, he said, Tanner, can you run this? Can you run this? Everything I said yes to, they ran. So to see how successful we was that first year in 05 here, I couldn't believe how we just went away from that game plan and went out and got offensive coordinators and different coaches to run ourselves those next years. And the success had showed, we dropped off. So I just believe it as a Jet, they did so much upstairs in the front office to make sure we were solid, as far as coaching-wise. We didn't have that many coaches shifting. And here, it's been so many coaches shifting in and out. It's hard for the players to ever have some stability to be able to say, I can always be in this offense or I can always be in this defense. Even me as a receiver. I was here and I had, in 10 years, I had 11 different quarterbacks. I had 4 different quarterbacks as a Jet too, but when you have coaches moving, quarterbacks
continuity,
moving, offensive game plans and schemes changing, it's just hard to have stability or be able to find any comfort in what you're doing.
Well, now I know you hear a lot of things going on here. As I told you before, we're in Children's Hospital. We got the excitement of being here. We just heard a helicopter. We hear people walking around. So don't worry about that. I think you gave a good answer there, and that tells us the difference right now in what we're seeing in the different organizations. We have another question from the audience.
My friend here, Tariana, has a question.
No.
How do you like playing for the Redskins?
Go back.
The question is, how do you like playing for the Redskins?
Great question. I love being a Redskin. I think one of the reasons why I'm still here now is because of all the love I've had for the fan base and for the area. You know, I'm a Miami guy, and if you'd asked me when I was in my 20s, what are you going to do when you're done playing ball? The first answer I would give you is I'm going to go back to South Florida, sunny South Florida, where the weather is always great, and I'm going to, you know, ride off into the sunset. But that's not what you get now. I actually, you know, love this area so much and love the fan base and love the opportunity that I have now to basically, you know, still cover the team, talk about the team that kept me here. So the Redskins has been wonderful for me, and I'm just hoping, crossing my fingers, crossing my toes, you name it, that these guys can be champions again.
You know, you feel so bad because we all been here to different situations. I was blessed enough to be here for 2 Super Bowls, and I've seen you guys, you younger players, come in. And right now, I, as a former Washington Redskins, feel like we owe our fans more. And that's also us as alumni. That's why we do these shows here, like at Children's Hospital, and we've been at Geico headquarters, and we've been out just trying to go around. We was at Easter Seal, because we owe you as a fans. When you hear young men like this talking and speaking as they are, this is what we do not hear in the locker room right now. This is what this team do not have. So let's talk about playoffs. These teams in the playoffs seem to have that continuity that he was speaking of. You look at these Rams. You look at Kansas City. I mean, you just start name. You look at New Orleans. They started off and they never stopped looking back. And now you just take, and then I have to say New England hung in there. I knew they would win that game. But let's talk a little bit about these teams that's left in the playoffs, Mike.
Well, I mean, they're the 4 top teams. They're the 4 top seeds. I mean, basically, you've got 2 great matchups next weekend. And I think probably the best team is, believe it or not, Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. I think this is the best all-around team, offensively, defensively. I think they're your Super Bowl champ.
One good defensive game, Mike, does not make a Super Bowl winner.
No, but they got
they
have receivers,
were giving up 5.1
they have a running
rush.
game, they have 2 good pass rushers, they got a great linebacker as a pass rusher. This is a very good football team, and you got Andy Reid, and everybody's hungry on that team, and they're used to cold weather. I'm telling you,
Mike,
watch
they were
this
giving
team.
up 5.1 a rush through the year. 5.1 a rush. That's what
because you couldn't
Sunday
throw
they
against
played
them.
better.
You
I
couldn't
think
throw
that
against
is the
them.
one thing, guys. And chime on in. That's the one thing I think is that's going to hurt that team.
Well, but you know what? I look at everybody has a solid team in there. They've all got good running games. With Kansas City Mahomes, you got Hill is a player in himself. Their defense, like Tony said, played good one. But you can't dismiss the Rams with McVay and what he's done in their running game, their passing game. Defensively, they were questioned about their defense. But everybody has solid quarterbacks in the playoffs right now. And that's where I look at. They've got playmakers. I can't go away from the Saints.
Hold your thoughts a minute. I got to go out here. We have a young lady out here. We have another question. Cassie, we have a question.
We have 2 questions here from Layla and Tim.
Who are the Redskins going to draft?
Who are the Redskins going to draft?
Who are the Redskins going to draft? That is important. And I hate to say it right now. I know a lot of people do not say it, but if they do not get someone that is a threat, and I'm not talking about no position but a quarterback, they will have to draft one. And now when you see with the Patrick Mahomes and people, you see you can get a quarterback who can play right away. And that may be what they need. If it were if I don't get a quarterback, I'm getting me either a great offensive lineman or defensive lineman.
I say defense, offensive line, you can't go wrong.
Exactly.
You do need a quarterback. I'm not sure if you want to get a quarterback in the draft because you have to wait till he can play. If you have one out there that can play now, you probably win that way because you don't know what he's going to have, you know, when it comes to Alex or even Coke. But you need so many different guys to
a whole bunch.
draft. We need so many of them. I don't know who.
I tell you what you got to have. Remember when they drafted Sheriff, they thought he was going to replace Trent. Eventually, he was going to be a tackle. He turned out to be only a guard.
Great guard.
Yeah, you remember that? And fortunately, Morgan Moses stepped up. He had a poor first year, but he played well that year. You better draft a tackle.
But you got to probably grab a right tackle. You got to draft one that can do both.
Yes,
both
because
sides.
had more holding calls in the NFL than any other
Yeah.
offensive lineman. You better draft a tackle in the first round.
Moses might have been one of our more healthier linemen this year.
Yeah.
But those penalties are going to cost him. And I saw more than just those holdings. He was jumping a lot too.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. When he had a quick
that
rush.
tells you then that he's not solid on what his belief in sitting in there long enough when he got somebody that can really be a threat coming off that edge.
Man, Santana, you off the top, man.
Hey,
you got some good. You be watching this. We got another question out here, Cassie.
What is the state of the Redskins after this season? And looking at the Eagles and the Cowboys make the playoffs, what do you see for the future after what we've seen over the last 2 years?
The state of the team right now at the end of the season, I think, is what he said. And then looking at the Cowboys, at that NFC East, I guess.
If you look at the state of the team, guys,
Disarray.
you know what's going to always happen. And you're going to look at them and say, oh, they were doing pretty good at first. Oh, they had injury. Oh, they had this. But how many years have we been saying that? That's what I want to say.
You can't live on what else.
Exactly.
Can't live
How
on what
many
else.
times can you go to the playoffs maybe 3 or 4 times in 20 years? They have become the team that we expect to go, but they are a middle road team no matter what. All their records, the best one may be 10-6, and all the rest of them in that 9-7, 7-9, 6-10 range.
Yeah.
So what do you say about this team, and what do you look at it? What did the first thing the Cowboys did was drafted offensive linemen 3 or 4 years in a row. Then what they do, go get a running back that can run behind.
And then they got
got a
their
quarterback
linebackers.
that if you
build the
protect him,
defense.
he may not be a
And a
Tom
pass
Brady,
rusher.
but if you protect him, he will complete passes.
And I think the other thing the Redskins need to look at is in the last 2 years, their offensive line have been hammered with injuries. So I go back to look at the whole team in general. Why are they getting hurt so much?
Yes.
When you look at other teams, they need to pretty much look at that area of why they are hurt every year.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've been saying time and time again since I've left, after 2014 season, we didn't have to deal with all these injuries. And one of the things about the injury, it leads everybody to say, well, if we didn't get injured, if we didn't have so many guys on IR, but that's not going to, get it, because like I said before, you have to have those replacements ready to play at that level.
Yep.
The way you have your replacement play at that level is by having those practices structured so these guys can be ready to go. These guys have to be the next man up. Yeah, they're the next man up, but they ain't ready to play because they're not practicing like the number
And
ones.
used to getting hit.
They're not flying around in practice because they sitting behind number ones that can't even play the whole entire season. Then when they get out there, they shell shocked because they haven't been put in the fight yet.
But with the new collective bargaining, number ones are playing like number ones because they don't have to hit in training camp. They only hit 14 times a year. They can't do this. They wear shorts. They run around.
Every other team is
But I
flying
bet you
around
New
playing.
England is practicing more in pass
And
than
New
some
England
of that.
doesn't give days
I
off
watched,
at
and
all.
I watched those guys practice. We practiced against those guys one training camp, and I couldn't believe the way that they did their conditioning after every practice. And I just feel like different organizations go out their way and structure things a lot differently, and that's why they're in postseasons.
All right, guys, we're going to have to take this last break. I tell you, we went over, but at the same time, we got a couple of more playoff teams to talk about. We'll sprinkle a little Washington Redskins in there, but we don't talk about the past. We talk about the future. That's the Super Bowl. Back at the moment.
Hey, sports fans, 2-time Super Bowl champion Gary Clark and Pacific Dental Services have joined up to bring Redskin fans a chance to win free NFL Legend experiences. Go to www.garyclarkinc.com/fans to register for a chance to win. Good luck.
It is through our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light again. I would love for you to pick up my book, Getting to the Other Side of Victory. If not for yourself, a loved one, or a friend, pick it up for someone that's going through a tough time. You can purchase it on both Amazon and Barnes & Noble in both paperback or ebook. For my autographed copy, go to my website at www.donnajhopkins.com and help someone get to the other side of victory.
I'm at the swing joint telling people that Geico's been offering savings for over 75 years. That's longer than the buffalo wing's been around.
Dozen wings.
And did you know that Geico offers motorcycle insurance? Oh, my lips are burning. Ah, no, my lips are actually burning.
Geico. Over 75 years of savings and service. See how much you could save at geico.com.
It's too hot. Oh, this is too hot, mate.
Mainline Protective Services is a female-owned security services and training company located in Largo, Maryland. Let us care for all your security training to obtain gainful employment. We also provide security services in the state of Maryland. Allow us to secure your personal property with the best officers in Maryland. Mainline is always striving to be the best, not the biggest, for all your security needs and services. Visit us at mainlineprotectiveservices.com.
Well, welcome back, and we're going to finish the show by talking about who do we think are winning these playoffs. Anytime you got KC going against Brady, we saw that in the middle of the year, it's going to be a high-powered, high-scoring game. At the same time, neither one of the defenses did well. So now you're breaking it down to the two quarterbacks, Brady and Mahomes. Who do you have, the new or the old? I hate to say it right now, I have to go with Kansas City.
Yeah, it's hard to go against Brady. You know, I went against them last week and said that Rivers was going to come down in Foxborough and go out there and take it to these guys. What was I thinking? Me too. Belichick and Brady, man, these guys are unfazed, unscathed, man. I think they'll take it again. And NFC, I think when it comes to the two Seans, it's hard to go against my man McVay. But I think, you know, what Sean Payton has been doing and just what Breeze has been doing alone this year by itself, I think they're destined for another Super Bowl.
And I think Lattimore's the difference in that game. You got to go with the Saints in the Dome. You can't bet against them.
But why you say Lattimore? He got the interception, but why did he get the interception?
Well, obviously he's playing better. He's young.
And the guy didn't catch the ball.
That's true. Well, that
and he caught that ball, and I know we said if, but that was ball game. They were only ahead by 6. So I can't go with them. I got to look at this. I think that the Rams is the most complete team during the whole course of the year. Maybe they can't stop the run, but they can stop the pass.
Well, and the thing,
that's right.
and the thing, sorry, Tom, but the thing about the Rams playing New Orleans, I think that game was close, and when they played, it was a shootout. So it's going to be a shootout again, but I think that the Rams are a much better team. Both, like you said, Sean and Sean, you can't go wrong. But I don't want New England to win. So just for that reason, I'm not going with them.
Okay, so let's look at our picks. Okay, in the NFC, you feel like who?
Oh, in the NFC, it's got to be the Saints.
It's got to be.
I'm going to say Saints.
I'm going to say Rams.
I'm going to say Rams, so we'll see next week who is right. AFC, what do you got to think? I got to go KC.
You're the Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, man, I mean, Belichick and Brady.
You going with them?
I got to go with them. I went against them last week. They proved me wrong.
Is that why you sitting in Gary's chair?
And I went against New England. I needed to have my head.
So are you rethinking this?
Nope, I'm going for Kansas City.
Okay.
All right, so if we take a look at this, and we can look at both of these teams, the reason I asked that question is, what do these teams have that the Washington Redskins don't have? They have their offensive coordinator, who we had, and when we had them, we were a much better team.
I think the Redskins would have won the division if Alex Smith had not gotten hurt. I think they would have won their first-round playoff game. I think that's how far they got before the injuries.
Well, one of the things I look at is the coaches. All 4 coaches are strong-minded coaches. They go out there, they team play the way that they practice and prepare, and that's one of the things that we need. We need our coach to make sure that he groomed these guys to be that kind of a team.
Nope, I disagree with everything that Mike said they would not have.
Okay, and I tell you what, I think the one thing they had to do is get the confidence and eliminate the mistakes. We'll be back next week. We want to thank you again for allowing us to be here at Children's National Headquarters, their hospital, and also for Geico for sponsoring it. We had a good show this week. Next week, we'll be back in the studio. We hope you're with us. Never say goodbye. Say, in a minute.
You okay there, Kurt?
We're about to move.
Karate helps relieve some of the house buying stress.
At least you don't have to worry about homeowners insurance. Call Geico.
Geico helps with homeowners insurance?
Been doing it for years.
I'm calling Geico right now.
Good idea.
Get to know Geico and see how easy homeowners and renters insurance can be.
Hey, sports fans, two-time Super Bowl champion Gary Clark and Pacific Dental Services have joined up to bring Redskin fans a chance to win free NFL Legend experiences. Go to www.garyclarkinc.com/fans to register for a chance to win. Good luck.